Hey everyone, welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I am your host, Shad Dales. And today we're going to look at a major policy showdown unfolding in Pennsylvania, where Governor Josh Shapiro isn't backing down. He's holding firm on legalizing adult use cannabis, even as his budget talks hit a wall. Let's dive into what's at stake, why it matters, and what could come next, because we all know if this passes, it would be huge for the industry. So let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Let's first begin. Even as the budget clock ticks down, Governor Shapiro continues to insist that cannabis reform stays in the conversation. During a recent visit to Lancaster, he made it clear, yes, legalization remains part of the plan, and he's not giving an inch, even though the legislature is not moving as fast as he'd like. So this isn't a minor mention, this is a stand. When asked whether he'd concede on adult use cannabis during budget talks, his answer was simple, quote, "I'm not going to concede on any of those fronts," end quote. It's a bold statement. We know he has a firm stance. But let's rewind a bit to start from the beginning. Earlier this year, during his budget address, Shapiro pitched legalizing recreational marijuana, and he tied it directly to the Commonwealth's financial future. He framed it as a competitiveness issue, noting that no fewer than 24 states have already legalized adult use cannabis. As he put it, Pennsylvanians are simply crossing state lines to buy cannabis. Up to 60% of customers at dispensaries in neighboring states come from here. So that's money leaving our economy. If enacted, Shapiro's plan could bring $1.3 billion in new tax revenue over 5 years, including an annual boost of around $250 million once the market then ramps up. Meanwhile, the House put forward its own legalization plan and made it real progress. In fact, for the first time, a bill to legalize recreational cannabis for adults passed the state House. If enacted, it would establish a regulated system overseen by the Liquor Control Board, with sales occurring in retail outlets separate from liquor stores. This bill promises over $500 million in revenue during the first year and includes funding for Medicaid, public transit, education, minority business support, and even expungements for past minor cannabis convictions. But the path forward is anything but smooth. Senate Republicans remain firmly opposed, especially to the proposed state-run model. So narrow your focus on the Senate, and you'll see why negotiations are stalling. Budget season is in crunch time. Shapiro's proposed $51.5 billion budget hinges on new revenue streams like adult use cannabis and taxes on skilled gaming that's been popping up everywhere. But state Republicans are digging in on Medicaid costs, the regulation of skill games, and any legalization measures. So the governor's message is clear. Legalized cannabis isn't just a policy preference, it's essential to closing a massive structural gap without raising tax. And with that, the proposals keep evolving. State lawmakers are introducing additional legalization bills, some proposing privately run dispensaries, others sticking to state-controlled models. Lawmakers from both parties they want in, representatives like Emily Concede and Abby Major introduced a private market bill. Senators Dan Laughlin and Sharif Street, who was on our podcast earlier, proposed SB 120. These efforts show there's growing bipartisan will, but the devil's in the details, and the Senate remains the stumbling block. If PA could only make this simple. So let's wrap up why this matters and fast. First, revenue. Millions in tax dollars could support schools, healthcare, and public services. Second, economic fairness. Pennsylvanians shouldn't have to cross borders for legal cannabis. Third, there's social justice. Expunging convictions offers a chance for overdue reform. And finally, leadership. Governor Shapiro is pushing this as a core priority, not a footnote. So really, that's the latest from Pennsylvania, where Governor Shapiro is standing firm on adult use cannabis, calling it a competitive must-have amid budget deadlock. Will it crack the Senate floor? Only time and negotiations will tell. One thing's for sure, this is a long do-over story to get adult use passed, something that's been going back and forth in the state Senate for years. If it does pass, then like we all know, it will become, meaning Pennsylvania, one of the largest adult use cannabis programs in the entire country. A lot of big players involved in here. So what happens next? All eyes here in the back end of 2025 in PA. So that's it for our latest TDR Cannabis in 5. If you like this breakdown, give it a like. Make sure to smash on that bell for all notifications. And make sure, if you haven't done so, subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate it here at TDR. What do you ultimately think is going to happen in the outcome here? Let us know in the comments below on what you think, whether or not adult use does pass in PA. And if so, what it would mean for the industry. Again, let's keep this conversation going. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. And like I always say, stay open-minded, stay connected, and I'll see you next time in our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and thanks again for watching.